cracking, y'all? All right. Anytime I post a like little microfilm or music video or anything, the number one thing people want to know, they don't want to know about story and plot, how to come up with all that. They want to know how you color graded it, because that's all that matters these days, I guess. I just want to go through, I don't know if you guys saw, I posted a behind the scenes to a music video I made like, oh, it was like 6 months ago. That's the only thing I hate about these music videos is they take forever to come out. By the time they come out, you kind of lose your excitement for it. A lot of the times when people aren't used to Davinci Resolve or color grading and they see all the nodes, they get very scared of it and they get very overwhelmed. Once you do a few different takes, you start understanding it more and it's pretty simple. So I don't know if I'll ever make a video on like breaking it down, because there's a ton of other like amazing videos of other people doing that. So I just want to show how I'm getting the look I get. So yeah, let's just start off. Let's just clear out all those nodes. And you see this is the raw shot. Let's scroll through there. Let's do when the flame's out. Let's do when she first sparked it. Let's do that one because they're cool flare. So I shot this in the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. The reason I like shooting with it, the colors are very beautiful out of camera. You can't tell on this because it's based on its log profile, but also because it shoots raw. And a lot of people tell me that log is the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's like, say you shoot a JPEG and a log profile, and then you shoot an actual raw file, like photography wise, and you put the two together and you try to edit them the same way, the JPEG's still gonna fall apart. That's basically what like every DSLR that doesn't shoot raw, that's the same thing you're doing with it. Like I'm shooting on the Sony right now, A7R4. This doesn't shoot raw. If it did shoot raw, it would be next level. Yeah, you can see we could easily change this to, we could do the video mode so you can see the color. We could do the extended video, that's like the video mode, but a little more dynamic range. We could zero out this tint real quick. And the color balance, and you see that it looks pretty good out of camera. But let's just change this gamma back to the film. So yeah, the first 3 nodes, I always make 3 nodes off the bat. And those first 3 nodes, the one's kind of like a base, or I don't really do too much to it if I don't have to. Generally, if I do anything, it's noise reduction right off the bat. Second one can either be noise reduction, but it's usually sharpness, and then like any kind of corrections. Third or fourth one's usually, or no, third one's usually color correction. But I don't do my color correction until I do the 4th node. Sorry if this is getting confusing. The 4th node, I always use FilmConvert, and then from there I color grade on top of the FilmConvert. So see that the first one, you can just see, I think I just did, yeah, I just bumped the shadows up and lower the highlights down. So you can see that's all that node's doing. So the second one in this one, I believe was for a vignette, to fix the vignette. So I shot this on with the Sigma 18-35 and the 50-100. And I was using the Vidatlantic anamorphic filters. They're basically like these little black filters that go behind the lens, and it gives it this beautiful anamorphic look that you can't really get for that affordable of a price. The downfall with that is it creates a lot of vignetting. I can't talk today, geez. Vignetting, and so you have to correct it in post. You don't have to if you like that look, but the way I was color grading, it really like brings out the vignette, so I had to kind of go and try to correct it. So now in the third one, this is where I do noise reduction. Again, between the first 2 or 3 nodes, I'm usually doing the noise reduction and sharpness. Sometimes I throw in the same layer, so we could just turn that one on, and you won't be able to see a difference. Let's try to zoom in and see. And you could kind of see it kicking in a little bit right there. It takes a second. So that's without it, and that's with it. So yeah. And so the 4th one, again, this is where I put in FilmConvert. So let's zoom back out of here. So with FilmConvert, you can see it didn't do much. And why it didn't do much was because I had FilmConvert Nitrate. And with the Nitrate, it basically, with the older one, it would kind of just like crush the file a little bit. And you'd have to go in and like lower the contrast on the original file if you want to get a little more lift out of it. But now with Nitrate, you can pretty much grade on top of the log and bring the log back. So you can see, if I wanted to, I could just raise this up and it would get the crush look out of it. But I obviously have it lowered down because I want to try to get all the info in there. So this next part, it's kind of technical. It's how you separate the skin tones from the color grade. Again, I won't get too much in depth with this because there's a lot of videos on there as it is. But you can see right here, this is where, watch if I take this one out, you see this is the color grade. And when I put this one back in, it's going to bring out all the skin tone based colors. So again, I'll put some links down. I'll see if I can find some. I'll put links down in the description on that teaches how to do this. But you can see I just basically went in and I made a selection on the skin. You create another node and it basically puts that node on there and then separates it into there, and then you do a layer mixer, and then that lets you do a final node out in the back end. And this final node is for like final corrections on if I want to do like a universal grade on top of what I just did. So you can see again, let's take the grade node back off. This is it, saving all the skin tones. Basically, it's not just gonna be the skin. I could track it and do just the skin, but I like to just whatever's skin tone color wise, I just like to save those. And then again, put that back on and you see it's saving all that. So that's for that shot. So again, this is a similar shot, same lighting. We didn't use any artificial lighting. This is all, we went to a bar, we paid him like 150 bucks to let us film in there. It's pretty rad. So you can see, turn on the first one, the second one, it's pretty much the same thing. See the vignette just went away. This is the sharpness and noise reduction, and then the film convert, okay. Oh no, and then the skin. And then let's turn on our grade on top of that and you'll see, so you see that's the grade. So let's take away the skin tone. So you see that's how it'll look like if you try to grade it and you're gonna lose all your skin tones. So this is basically how the films are doing it, is they're separating skin tones and then they're allowed to push the grade from there. So, oh sorry, I didn't go through the color grade on it. So let's just go through and do it. It's all in the primary wheels and the log wheels too. So you see the lift is just put down to the tint a little bit. The gamma is pushed down the tint a little bit, and then the gain's up into the warmth. Let's go to our logs. The logs is basically, to me, from my understanding, it's basically like the primary wheels, but they're a little more subtle and they're a little more, or they're a lot more exact on what parts of the footage they're affecting. I think what I'm gonna have to do to really, because breaking it down is not really teaching us, maybe I'll just go in, I'll try to recolor grade a shot. Let's just redo the whole thing. So let's just delete all these nodes out. So again, remember, create a few nodes off the bat. This first one, we'll just do noise reduction. I'll actually hold off the noise reduction though. The shot doesn't really need it because again, it's at ISO 400. When I film the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, I actually keep at either 1400 ISO or 1250, or no, was it 1250? 1600 ISO, either 16 or 3200 ISO. I forgot what I do it at. But then I adjust the exposure around those ISOs because those are like the native ISOs in there. So I don't want to move off of those just to keep it simple. Then that way, if I do mess up, I have room to boost the ISO or lower it. Actually, let's go on the second one. Let's boost up the shadows a little bit. Okay, let's lower the highlights. That's just like the usual thing I always do. Let's go on our sharpness. A lot of people say go to 47. I always go to 46 because yellow, I guess. So open FX. Let's put in our film convert on top of that. Sorry, I know I'm going quick, but this is how I do it. Let's choose the Blackmagic. So you see all the cameras they support. If you don't have film convert, this shows basically any camera that's out there, they have a profile for. So I actually been shooting on the Sony on this because it's a little faster to set up than the Blackmagic. When I use that, I'm usually using, they don't have the Mark IV up yet for the A7R, but I'm usually using the HLG3. So I have all my cameras set up so it's filming in that profile. Yeah, let's go back to here. Make sure you have this set correctly to what profile you're using. So you see we're on the film. So you see that it's a little dark, right? It's a little crispy. So what we can basically do is turn this down. And so you see you can put it all the way up. So it's basically the log footage, but with the color and the contrast curve on there. But it's just kind of saving all of it. So let's just lower that. So like this. All right, so I'm going to create 3 more nodes. Going to place these as such. So again, I will do I'll add a description showing how to make these this skin selection graph. Let's add a layer mixer. Let's connect the greens to here, and then connect that to there, and there we go. So you see that did nothing so far. So on this one right here, we're going to go in to our selector. We're going to click on the skin. I'm going to click this magic wand up here, so it's showing me my selection. We'll click this feather. I'm just going to feather this selection. Probably get the lips in there. Let's make sure we're getting these hand bits right in there. Let's just increase the width a little bit, like that. denoise it a little bit, soften it. You don't want to do too much because you start getting banding. Let's raise the saturation up. There we go. Now we're getting the lips in there. Luminance, lower that down, the highs. I kind of just mess with this until I get a good selection that I like. So you see that's our skin selection. It's not doing anything, right? So just do before and after. See, nothing's changing. So then let's go up here, and this is where our color grade is going to come in. So I'm just doing like a classic kind of bluish teal tint. See, already that looks amazing, like just from that little bit. So usually I push down to the blue or the teals a little bit. And the highlights, I'm going to push down to this like greenish teal highlights as you warm it up. Okay, so another cool thing you do, since it's raw, we go and we can lower the white balance even more. And that will pull even more blues out. So you see more blue ambience got in there in the background. And the skin tones are still being, look at that. It's pretty crazy. So in the logs, I just want to add a little bit of magenta just to balance out that blue just a little bit. And I'm going to lower the blacks, just crush them. Let's see, what else can we do? Let's just warm up the highlights a little bit over here, nothing too crazy. And already with that, like I'm pretty happy with that. So with the skin selection, you could go into there and go into your mid-tone details and just lower that down, and that will soften the skin now. Let's zoom into that so you can see. So this is really good when you're working with female talent. You just want to smooth out your skin a little bit. So this is before, and then that's after. And when it's in motion, you can't really tell that it's doing that too much, because that's one thing when you do stuff with photos, it's a frozen thing. And so and when you overdo something, you see it a lot more. When it's in video, you kind of cheat it a little bit more. So, and the reason you want to do noise reduction, just a little tidbit, beforehand, when you're using FilmConvert, is because FilmConvert adds film grain. So if you put that film grain before you do noise reduction, it's going to make it look weird because it's going to try to reduce all the film grain too. So yeah, you saw over in the FilmConvert, I didn't touch any settings. If we wanted to, we could go in, we could color grade with FilmConvert. Let's go to the FilmConvert node. Let's do the Open FX overlay. Again, this is nitrate, and you have color wheels. So you could color grade through this. And these color wheels actually work pretty well too. But the reason I don't do this on stuff like this is because I have to save those skin tones. But you see you get a similar look. And the way the color wheels work is you kind of can save the skin tones a little bit more. So if you want to do a quick grade, you can pretty much do it all in FilmConvert if you needed to. So you see that actually looks pretty similar. But yeah, I just like doing it on when it's higher end paid stuff. I want it to be exact. So yeah, let's just go and create one more node after that. I'm going to go into, these are the curves. So I always go into this one over here, second to last. I hold down shift and I click on this point. I think shift makes a straighter line, maybe not. I think that's wrong. That's what I've been doing. I don't think I need to do that actually. But I'm just gonna lower the blacks, and basically what this is gonna do is it's taking the saturation on the blacks. So that's one thing you see in a lot of color grades is their blacks are very saturated and it doesn't look very pro. People think that film had very like saturated blacks, but it actually had true blacks. The shadows are saturated, but the blacks weren't. So yeah, the blacks are a little bit too lifted for me too. So let's go on our curves again. Actually, we could go into our color wheels. And I'm going to, in the log section, going to lower the blacks. And there you go. That's the shot, before and after. So you see that's pretty simple, not much needed. The skin tones are a bit saturated, so a thing you could do is go into your node key over here and just lower the gain. And this is on the skin selection. So this is one way to make it blend a little bit better. So you see right there. Another thing you could do is, say if you want to keep that 100, you go into the nodes on your actual skin selection, and you could color grade on top of that, but you got to be very subtle with this because if you do too much, you're going to lose your natural skin tones. But let's just blend in the highlights a little bit better in there. Warm the midtones up, add a little bit of blue in the shadows just to mix it. Add a little bit more warmth. There we go. So a before and after on that. So you see it just kind of blended it in a little bit more. Still a little bit green for me. There it goes. That's it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Everyone's been asking me to do a color grading video, and there it is. I guess this is more for people who use Davinci Resolve and they know how to use nodes already. If all this is a little bit too complex for you, go search YouTube and see like Davinci Resolve color grading basics and how to use nodes and that kind of stuff. And then go watch this and you'll see. So I'll do more of these. I don't want to put too much in one video, make them too long. My video's been getting a bit lengthy lately, but we could do like some daylight ones. I can show you before and after on this. So you see, that might be something that people are interested in seeing. So this one before and after. So you see the before actually looks pretty cool too, but then the after adds a little bit more punch. But yeah, guys, question down in the comments. If whatever specific things you want to see in my color grades, let me know. Maybe how I color grade these videos is it's even more simple than this. Yeah, I think what might be cool is if you guys want to send me your footage and I'll color grade that. I'll just Dropbox it to me. I'll leave my, comment, and then I'll give you my email somehow through the comments. I want to put my email up there. Maybe I'll just make an email for YouTube. I'll probably do that. I don't know. Email in the description. Send me your footage and then I could color grade for you, and I'll put my look onto it. Yeah, guys, peace.